Hey you guys, I just want to give you kind of a wrap up of my dating situation with this guy I met. And he's the first guy I've met that I liked in 2.5 or 3 years. So I don't meet guys I like all the time. It's pretty rare. And it threw me for a real loop. And the problem was, in hindsight, is that before we even went on our first date, he already showed me that he didn't keep his word and didn't keep things consistently moving forward. And those are the criteria I have is a man he must keep his word, he must consistently move things forward, and he must be respectful. And I let this guy into my life even though he didn't keep his word and move things consistently forward by trying to see me in person. And the thing that upsets me the most is that I questioned myself when these things weren't happening. I didn't trust myself. I allowed him to violate my own boundaries, and I think that's why I felt so unsettled. I was trying to be nice, I was trying to be understanding, I was trying to give things a chance. And as I kind of look this over, I think a lot of it also has to do from that I haven't really had men teach me about dating. I wasn't allowed to date in high school. Like, I have a little bit of lack of experience. So the books I've been reading by John Gray about how men should be treated in dating are super helpful. And this morning I watched a few videos by male coaches about men who breadcrumb. And like those are just really good. I think it's really good to hear from a man's point of view, how men should treat us and how they're treating us, because it's so easy as a woman to go into that mindset of I want to be giving. I want to be nice. This guy's nice to me. I want to forgive him. I want to be nice to him. And, I shouldn't ask for too much. Um, when in reality, in the early stages of a relationship, there's nothing, a man shouldn't be upsetting you. He shouldn't be upsetting us at all. He's supposed to be on his best behavior, courting us, moving a relationship forward, keeping his word. um, like we should feel safe and trusting and happy. There shouldn't be any distress caused. He should be pursuing us, earning our love. And, I think for me, I didn't grow up in a home where I saw that modeled. So maybe subconsciously, I have some things that um, made me think it was a little bit okay what he did because and I'm not blaming my parents or anything, but it's kind of about me having to relearn how relationships should be, because in my household growing up, my mom just did whatever my dad wanted, and he didn't care what she wanted. So I wasn't raised with the idea that men try to make women happy. In my household, the woman had to make the man happy. Same with my grandparents. So it's kind of a generational thing. I want to break the generational cycle of women being with men who are avoidant men. Breadcrumbing is an avoidance strategy. It's not direct, it's not in integrity at all. A person in integrity, that means that your words match your actions. If you tell someone, I like you, I want to see you again, you'll actually make a plan to see them again. Or you would just say, hey, I just like texting you. I don't really care if I see you again. You have to be honest. You have to keep your word. It's super important to go through life keeping your word and not leading people on. And I think that, the people who breadcrumb are really either it's a form of immaturity, and I don't think they always know they're hurting someone unless they're malicious. They just could be like an avoidant personality. They like the connection, but they don't want to get too close. I think that it's really important to forgive people because they all make mistakes, but early on in dating, if a guy has to apologize a lot, that's not really a good sign. Or if he apologizes but then doesn't do something to make up for it, that's a really bad sign. I think I was practicing John Gray's relationship skills with a guy who hadn't earned it by being willing to forgive him, by being giving and generous in my nature, and he hadn't earned the right. I was giving him boyfriend privileges. I think early in a relationship or in dating, a man should definitely prove not just that he's nice and respectful, but that he keeps his word, that he's consistent over time, and that he keeps things moving forward. And when that isn't happening, I think it's important to tell the guy, I'm looking for a relationship that's consistently moving forward, and this isn't serving me, and I wish you all the best. And just move on and just cut it off super, super early. And I didn't do that. And part of it for me is too that I have this kind of a lack, and I rarely see a man I want to date. It's so rare for me. So it's not like, while I was interested in this guy, I was thinking I need 2 other guys. I want to date 3 guys at a time, but this is the first guy that's come along in years. And yeah, I was on Zeus dating a few men, but none of them excited me because they were just old and stodgy, and I like a lot more energy and vitality in a guy who's got stuff going on. And I didn't find these other guys attractive enough to want to go out with them again. I didn't like their whole, it's just so rare for me. So when I find a guy I like, I kind of get a little more hopeful than maybe I should. So what I learned out of this is that I'm going to keep watching for a guy who keeps his word and keeps things moving forward. And if he doesn't, I'm just out. I should have trusted myself instead of listening to my friends. I even had my brother tell me, so what if you overslept for the hike? So what if you overslept? People make mistakes. Because he kind of hates women, and he thinks guys are always wrong, so he took the guy's side. And my son is saying, Mom, it's not okay for a guy to stand you up on a date. That's really a bad sign. So all these people have all this different advice, and in hindsight, I should have just trusted myself, because I'm not a needy person, but I can be made into a needy person when someone is really avoidant. And I started getting that needy feeling 3 days after not hearing from him, and he still hadn't asked me out, and I knew his schedule had come out and he hadn't asked me out. So then I started getting that needy feeling, and that should have been, I'm going to trust that. I know that from before. When I get that needy feeling, it's because someone is unavailable and I need to end it. But instead, I blame myself for having this needy feeling. I should be okay with it. And sometimes it's hard to know, like, when I have this feeling, is it something that's like a painful flaw in me, or is it this feeling telling me I'm not being treated properly? And I need to start trusting my feelings. I'm really upset that I didn't trust myself, and that I was looking to other people, looking to him for love, looking to my friends for advice, and not trusting myself. And that's what I should have done all along. And my next requirement, I know for a man, I want to feel pursued, desired, and loved. But I'm also going to add, I want a man who keeps his word and keeps things moving forward. And I want to feel happy in the dating process. If I start feeling distressed, that guy is just gone. So, but the main thing is, I have my heart open. I want to have a few other dating experiences. I really do. And I think that, I did learn a lot out of this. For the gentlemen who are breadcrumbing and avoidant, they're not bad people. They're wounded people. They're hurt people. They're not maliciously trying to hurt us. Some of them are just very kind. I used to get guys like that I hooked up with, and then they would ghost me. And what they would do, just like this guy, they would be so passionate. They would have emotions. They would let me feel my emotions. I mean, they would be passionate with me. Not that they were overly sensitive. I don't like guys who are overly sensitive. That's not really a male characteristic. Men will share their feelings, but not to the extent that women do. And they don't go around crying. unless you know them super well and something dramatic has come up. They're not emotional like women are, put it that way. But a man that, when I say sensitive or passionate, he creates a space where he's affectionate with me and lets me express my feelings and welcomes my feelings, and it just felt super yummy. And they would disappear. I had some women do that to me too. And you can call it the one off, or you can call it the turtle. I used to call them the turtle. The turtle is someone who keeps who's wounded in childhood by a parent that was unavailable or overbearing, and they don't trust intimacy and connection. It's scary to them. So they don't show their feelings at all. They're like a turtle with the head tucked in. But when they do really crave connection, they're very sensitive people, very sensitive people. I want to say very loving, deep people. And so they will have brief moments when the turtle sticks his head out of the shell to connect. It could be a one night stand, it could be a date, just one time. And then they will go back into their shell where it's safe because they want that connection so badly, but it's their shadow. They're just afraid of it. So they'll then they'll go back into their shell, never to come out, or maybe come out sporadically. And you're dealing now with someone who's avoidant, who's breadcrumbing, or who's just afraid of intimacy. I've looked up the definitions of avoidance and all that, and my ex-husband, and a lot of the men I've met along the way since my divorce have been avoidant, but they don't fit all the characteristics of an avoidant because they just fit one or two. And some avoidance can be really critical and mean. That's not my experience with avoidance. Avoidance, in my experience, come on super strong, and they want a relationship but without too much emotion in it, or they give you a lot of emotion but not a lot of face time, or they give you a lot of emotion but just one time. You just get the sense that they don't want to build a deepening, ongoing connection. Also, it's really important for a man to make a woman feel supported and not make it all about him. When I'm in a dating situation, it's very different from a client situation. In a dating situation, I want a man who I can lean on, who makes it all about me. In my client situation, when I'm coaching a man or I'm in an appointment with a man, I have to make it a lot about him. He's a client, and sometimes clients don't know how to be dating partners. A dating partner is giving to the woman, pursuing the woman, giving to the woman, and seeing how she feels, how she's doing, how he can support her. It's about her and making sure she's happy, and consistently showing up in person. Getting to know her outside the bedroom, taking her out. This last gentleman was different. He was different from the other guys I used to hook up with that made me cry. From my book, The Fuck List, because those guys were, I'm going to call them California fuck boys. Bless their little hearts. They just wanted sex, and just maybe one time it would scare them. I'm very passionate. I think my daughter hit it on the head back then. She said, "Mom, you're just too passionate for them." And I am very passionate in bed, and maybe that kind of scared them. It was too much emotion maybe for them. Because guys are not just all about the sex. Like, the guys will just text you forever. They're not trying to get laid. Like this last guy, he wasn't trying to get laid. He wasn't trying to fuck me. I mean, we talked about sex. He shared a lot of things with me, and we talked about sex, but it wasn't explicit, and he wasn't trying to fuck me. He was just really interested in texting me. So I don't think that breadcrumbers are necessarily fuck boys. But back then I used to think, I'm not going to have sex with guys right away. I'm going to make sure they take me out on a date, to a nice restaurant, to show me that they're serious about me and they're willing to invest in me and spoil me. And so when this guy did that, I'm like, oh, he passed one of the requirements. But I didn't have enough requirements. I should have had more requirements. I should have listened more to my inner voice. Um, because just the fact that I thought I got my heart broken because these guys just fucked me so great and left. But a great first date can do that too. I had someone tell me, Sharzad, you just fall for guys way too fast. That kind of hurt my feelings because it made it seem like there was something wrong with me for wanting to love someone. And I did fall for him really fast. But on the other hand, I hadn't fallen for anyone in almost 3 years. So it's not like I fall for guys all the time. And I don't want to be made to, I don't think it's nice to blame people when they're telling you that their heart got broken, Well, you just fall for guys too fast. I thought that was very dismissive, not very kind towards me. Anyway, what else can I say about that? We as women have to learn that we are deserving to be pursued. We have to really get that through our head and break that cycle that maybe comes through the generations of that we should be nice to the man. We should be accepting of what the man dishes out, especially if you saw that growing up in your childhood home. That is not healthy. A healthy man interested in a woman is going to pursue that woman. There's no such thing as I'm too busy. Unless he's like deployed, he can see you. So don't believe that. A man interested in a woman will want to see her face to face. That's for sure. He will want to see her face to face, and he will keep things moving forward, and he will be consistent, and he will want to make her happy. And if any of those elements are missing, he's either not serious or he's wounded in some way, that he hates women or he's afraid of intimacy. And he may not even consciously know that this is happening, but we have to see how people show up. And we have to remember as women that we are a trophy that men have to earn. Not that we're better, but it's just energetically, men thrive by earning us. That doesn't mean we play hard to get. We're kind, we're responsive, we're appreciative. But through his consistent actions over time, keeping his word, moving things forward, making us happy, he earns a way into our circle, into our closer circle. We can't give him, once he's done that, then we can be more open and we can forgive him for things and whatever, but we can't give him those boyfriend privileges before he's proven what he's made of or what he's willing to give to us. Like a guy could be breadcrumbing me but have a steady girl on the side that I don't know about, or other women he's more interested in, or I don't know. But I have to look at how I'm being treated, and it's time for us women to stop making excuses for men and saying that this is okay or that is okay. The way that this guy treated me, I would have never put up with that from my escort clients. I would have never put up with that. Ever. So I think that I'm going to treat my dating prospects the way I treat my escort clients. We're not texting between meetings. You can text me to schedule another date. If you don't show up, you're done, blocked. You don't keep your word, you're blocked. That's the standard we should have. And maybe I should call it the escort's guide to dating, because I put up with stuff from this guy that I'd never put up with from a client. A client has to keep his word. A client has to keep the appointment or keep the deposit. I was even thinking before dating a guy, I should have him give me a deposit to make sure he shows up, but I don't want to be that rigid or whatever. And I'm just going to keep my heart open for the next guys to come along who are going to keep their word and keep things moving forward. But I need him to be good looking. I need him to be hot. I need him to be good looking and hot. So there are really wonderful men out there. I know there are really wonderful men out there. And I have, I know a lot of really wonderful men. So, and early on in dating, we can't get too excited. We have to give people a chance to show us who they are through their actions. And just remember that some of the guys who come out so charming right out of the gate are turtles. I think the turtles are really charming right out of the gate because they have all this passion they've been holding in. They come out one time to feel something, but then they can't sustain it. So when a guy comes off really charming on the first date, just remember there's a good chance that he's a breadcrumber or an avoidant or a turtle. I'm going to call them turtles. By the way, I have a little bit of like a stuffy sinus, which I don't get very often. I get, like, when the change in season happens, a little bit of a cold and sinus congestion. And so that's why you see that, I look like this. But I really want to make this video. And I watch a lot of videos from other coaches, especially when I'm stuck, like avoidant, breadcrumbing. And I think, should I make videos like that? But what I really like to do is share my own experience, my own feelings. I'm just going to do things the way that feels right to me. You guys also know that I do coaching. Honestly, if one of you guys contacted me for coaching about being avoidant, I don't even know if I could necessarily help you because look at how I'm struggling with this. But I'm in the process of developing my coaching modules and coming through with the step of how to handle feelings. Yesterday, I spent an hour and a half going through this feeling exercise because I was really, really still having trouble processing my feelings over this guy. And I did the feeling letter exercise with him. I did it with my dad, just trying to release like certain feelings. And that helped a lot. But at the same time, like my business coach said last night at dinner, she said, I know my thoughts determine my feelings. My thoughts determine my feelings. So, instead of thinking about some guy who's unavailable or whatever, let's start thinking about the guys who are available and be grateful for the things we see right now. Super important, like when you notice your thoughts, it's like, if this isn't a positive thought moving me forward, let me flick it out of my head. But a lot of times, those negative thoughts are familiar or they're addicting somehow, and I can get into my victim mode and into my pain mode and feel my pain, and those are all negative mind patterns. And it's time for us to wake up, like Eckhart Tolle talks about. We need to wake up, and we need to wake up to our negative mind patterns. Like, why do I keep thinking about this guy who isn't available? Catch it. That's a negative mind pattern. Let me think about the things that are available. Let me be right here, right now, in this moment. And I was listening to Eckhart Tolle this morning. He said the most powerful thing we can do, I'm rephrasing now, is to say, I'm happy in this, I'm here in this moment, I've got no complaints. Is to just always accept this moment. That's how we can generate more light and more joy, no matter what it is. And it's easy to do if you're, the example he gave, if you're in a luxury hotel, except you might complain about the pillow being too big or something. It's harder to do if it's a cold night and you're homeless sleeping outside. But just keep saying, I'm present in this moment, I've got no complaints. And then we can start focusing on gratitude and changing our vibration and bringing good things into our life. I think gratitude brings good things into our lives. And I see my negative mind pattern and I want to shift it. And I want to have positive thoughts and bring positive things into my life. Because I've spent many years in this longing mindset, crying over guys. So I can really get stuck in that rut. And even though it feels bad, at least I'm feeling something. It's such a familiar pain. So I've been trying to also like do all these things about releasing my pain from maybe when I was little and being disappointed that my dad wasn't available. And I've stuffed all that. So I'm trying to come in touch with it and feel it again. And I'm just experimenting on myself so that if I can release my pain, I can help other people release their pain. Because a lot of people are in pain, emotional pain. And I think our pain, unless it's a physical pain, is caused by our feelings or our thoughts. And thoughts are easier to change. It just takes a willpower to focus on something positive. But emotions are lodged deep in the body. And so I'm still trying to untangle how to release all the emotions. And, if you just change your thoughts while you're still feeling something, you're just repressing your feelings. And they stay there. They're in the body, and they can stay stuck if they're not fully felt and processed. So in all, I had like a pretty good experience. I learned a lot, even though it was a little bit painful for me. Anyway, so thanks for watching my video, you guys.